The stars seemed endless, but for Captain Olivia Hanley, the calm of space had always been a fleeting illusion. The silence that usually comforted her now seemed ominous. On the bridge of the Elysium, her ship drifted toward a foreign system, a routine exploration mission that turned anything but ordinary. The message arrived without warning. Unknown transmission received, reported her chief communications officer, Lieutenant Rayne. Olivia's heartbeat quickened as the symbols flashed across the screen, symbols unlike anything ever encountered in human history. They pulsed with an eerie, unnatural rhythm. The language, though foreign, carried a strange weight to it. A feeling of deep power, of something ancient, of something alive. "What is it?" Olivia whispered to herself. "We don't know, Captain, but it's alive," Rayne replied. His voice trembled with fear. Olivia's mind raced. If this message was what she feared, everything they thought they knew about the galaxy would change. The danger wasn't just in the words, but in what they might unlock. Something deeper and darker stirred, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they had just opened the door to something beyond comprehension. Captain Hanley gathered her crew in the briefing room, the air thick with apprehension. "The transmission we received, it's not like anything we've encountered. It's not just a message, it's a signal, a threat." Rayne spoke, his voice more stable now, but still tinged with worry. If the symbols are a code, they could be more than just words. They might be a weapon. Hanley turned to the rest of the crew, her face hardening. "We have to decipher this. If this is a weapon, we need to know how to stop it before it spreads." The crew exchanged nervous glances, realizing the magnitude of what they were facing. "But who sent it?" one of them asked. "And why now?" Hanley took a deep breath, a sense of unease settling over her. "We don't know yet, but whatever it is, it's linked to something far older than us. Something that could change the course of galactic history." The silence in the room was deafening. Hanley's resolve hardened as she looked at her team. "We'll uncover this together, but no one is to speak of this to anyone else. Not until we know what we're truly dealing with." The crew worked tirelessly over the next few days, trying to decipher the alien transmission. The symbols were complex, far beyond anything human technology could translate. "It's almost like it's alive," Rayne said, his voice barely above a whisper. Captain Hanley frowned. "What do you mean?" Rayne ran his fingers through his hair, frustration mounting. "Each time I think I've cracked it, the message changes. It's as if it's evolving, responding to our attempts." Hanley turned to their chief scientist, Dr. Lina Voss, who had been silent for most of the briefing. "Any progress?" Dr. Voss looked up from her tablet, her brow furrowed. "The patterns are far too complex for us to understand, but I think I found something. It's subtle, but there's a structure. It's more like a biological code than a traditional language." Hanley's heart skipped a beat. "Biological? You mean it could be tied to life forms?" Dr. Voss nodded. "Yes. If I'm right, this language is not just a message. It's a signal for something, or someone." The weight of her words settled on the room like a blanket of dread. Hanley's voice was cold and steady. "We need to find out who sent it. Now." As the crew continued to dig deeper, they discovered something they hadn't anticipated, a hidden message embedded within the transmission. At first it seemed like random noise, but then the symbols began to align in a sequence that was unmistakable. "It's a warning," Rayne said, his voice shaking. "Not just a warning, it's a countdown." Hanley stood up abruptly, her eyes narrowing. "A countdown to what?" Dr. Voss's eyes widened as she decoded the last part of the message. "A signal. A signal that will reach every living thing in the galaxy. It's a trigger. A biological signal designed to induce chaos." Hanley's mind raced. A trigger for what? What could possibly be the purpose of this? The gravity of the situation hit them all at once. This wasn't just an alien message, it was a weapon. A weapon capable of destabilizing life as they knew it. Hanley made a decision. "Prepare for a full analysis. We need to understand exactly what this will do, and fast." The Elysium moved closer to the source of the transmission, a small planet on the outer rim of the galaxy. As they approached, The sensors detected something strange, a massive energy signature. "Captain, you need to see this," Rayne said urgently. Hanley rushed to the cockpit, where the view of the planet below was dominated by a glowing, pulsating structure at its center. "What is that?" Hanley asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Voss joined them, her face pale. "I don't know, but whatever it is, it's tied to the message." As the ship descended toward the planet's surface, the crew could see it more clearly. A massive, alien city-like structure, pulsating with energy. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Hanley's instinct screamed at her to turn back, but she couldn't. They were too far in. "We've come this far. We have to learn the truth." As the Elysium made its descent, a strange sensation swept over the crew. A sense of foreboding, of something watching them, something ancient. They were no longer in control of what was happening. The message was more than a warning. It was a lure. As the Elysium touched down on the alien planet's surface, the crew's excitement quickly turned to unease. The structure they had observed from orbit was even more imposing up close, towering spires of blackened stone covered in strange, glowing symbols. The air was thick with a foreign energy, and the silence was oppressive. "What is this place?" Olivia muttered under her breath. "I've never seen anything like it." Dr. Voss stepped forward, scanning the surroundings with her device. "The energy readings are off the charts. This isn't just a building. It feels alive, like it's reacting to us." The crew cautiously exited the ship, the ground beneath their boots soft but solid, as if the planet itself was breathing. Every step they took echoed in the vast empty expanse, amplifying the sense that they were intruding on something far beyond their understanding. As they ventured deeper into the structure, a low hum began to reverberate through the walls. Suddenly, a massive door slowly opened ahead of them, revealing a dark, cavernous hall. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the chamber, speaking in the alien language they had intercepted. "What did it say?" Olivia asked, her voice tight with anticipation. "I think it's calling us," Dr. Voss whispered. "Or warning us." Inside the dark hall, the hum grew louder, and the crew hesitated, their footsteps slow and cautious. The walls around them seemed to pulse with energy. "This place feels wrong," Rayne said, his voice barely a whisper. "Like it's alive." "It is alive," Dr. Voss responded. "These symbols, they're not just a language. They're a force, something that interacts with the very fabric of reality." Olivia looked around, her eyes darting between the walls and the faint flickering lights ahead. "If it's a force, then it could be dangerous. But we need to understand it. We need to know what we're dealing with before we make any more mistakes." The deeper they moved into the structure, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The symbols on the walls began to shift, rearranging themselves into new formations. It was clear that the structure was responding to their presence. "The language itself is changing," Dr. Voss observed, her device now analyzing the patterns. "It's like it's adapting to us, to what we understand." Olivia turned to her, a sense of dread in her gut. If this is a language, it's more than we can handle. What if we're not meant to understand it? As the words left her mouth, the walls vibrated violently, and a massive mechanical sound echoed throughout the hall. The message was clear: they had awakened something. As the crew ventured further, they suddenly heard a sharp noise, followed by the sound of footsteps behind them. Olivia spun around only to find that one of the crew members, Lieutenant Mason, was no longer with them. "Where's Mason?" Olivia demanded, her voice laced with urgency. "He was right behind us," Rayne replied, his eyes scanning the dark hall. Panic set in as they called for Mason, but there was no answer. It was as if the air itself had swallowed him. As they moved to investigate, they were met with a horrifying discovery. Mason stood at the far end of the hall, his face twisted in a grotesque expression, his body rigid as if he were being controlled. He turned to face them, his eyes no longer his own. "Mason?" Olivia asked cautiously. "What happened to you?" The voice that came from Mason was not his own. "I've seen it all," the voice rasped. "This language, its power. and now, I belong to it. The crew gasped in horror as Mason's body began to twitch and shake. He was no longer a man, he was a puppet to the will of the alien force. He's been corrupted by the language, Dr. Voss said, her voice trembling with fear. We need to leave now. The crew rushed to Mason's side, but before they could reach him, a terrifying realization set in. The walls of the structure began to close in, as if the entire place was a trap designed to imprison them. We need to get out, now. Olivia shouted, but the door they had come through had already sealed shut. Dr. Voss scanned the room with her device, her face pale. There's no way out. The entire structure is shifting. It's alive, and it's locking us in. As they looked for an escape, the symbols on the walls began to glow brighter. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and a low, deep hum filled the air. Suddenly, an image appeared before them, a holographic projection of the alien species that had once inhabited the planet. They were tall, humanoid figures, their bodies adorned with intricate markings, their faces expressionless. The image spoke in the alien language, the words still undecipherable, but filled with a dark, malicious undertone. It's trying to communicate with us, Dr. Voss said, her voice shaky. But we can't understand it. Olivia's heart pounded. Then we have to stop it. Whatever this is, it's not just a message anymore. It's a weapon. As the crew struggled to comprehend the magnitude of the situation, Olivia's thoughts turned to Mason, who stood motionless, his eyes vacant. We can't leave him like this, she said, her voice determined. But as they prepared to act, a new voice emerged from the shadows, a voice that didn't belong to any of them. You think you can stop this? The voice said, its tone cold and mocking. I already have. From the darkness emerged a figure, their mysterious ally who had been helping them from the shadows, but whose true intentions had remained unclear. The hidden ally stepped forward, a sly smile on their face. You should have listened to me, they said, revealing that their own motives were far more self-serving than anyone realized. This language? This power? I intend to use it. The crew was stunned. They had trusted this person, only to learn they were no better than the forces they had been fighting. Olivia stepped forward, fury and betrayal rising in her chest. You've been playing us this whole time, she demanded. The hidden ally nodded. Power is power, Captain, and I'm not going to let it slip through my fingers. The crew realized too late that they had been pawns in a much larger game. The hidden ally's smirk only deepened as Olivia's crew struggled to process the betrayal. You thought you were the ones uncovering the truth. The hidden ally taunted, stepping closer. No, Captain, you were just pawns in my game. The crew stood frozen, disbelief painted across their faces. Olivia's pulse raced, her mind reeling. You've been using us this whole time? She demanded. Why? The hidden ally stepped forward with an unsettling calmness, revealing their motivations. This language, it's not just a message. It's a weapon of unimaginable power. I was sent here to retrieve it, and now, with your help, I will. The room felt smaller as the tension thickened. You're not the only one who's heard the call, Olivia, they continued. This message will reshape the galaxy. I've spent years infiltrating organizations, positioning myself, all to control this power. Olivia's hands tightened into fists, the weight of the situation crashing down on her. You'll destroy everything we've fought for, she hissed. Not if I control it first, the hidden ally replied coldly. The room fell silent, the gravity of the situation settling over them. Olivia knew that this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about preventing an unimaginable disaster. Olivia's mind raced as she realized the stakes. The hidden ally had set them all up, but there was still a chance to stop them. We need to stop them now, she said, her voice cutting through the silence. If they get control of this language, it's over. The crew began to move, trying to position themselves in the room. But before they could react, the structure shook violently, and the walls around them began to shift. A low rumble echoed through the hall. What is happening? Rayne asked, panic rising in his voice. Dr. Voss rushed to her console, frantically analyzing the energy readings. The language is reacting to us. It's awakening something. We're not just dealing with a message anymore. This is a signal to something far worse. The hidden alley's eyes glowed with excitement. It's too late, they said, their voice dripping with satisfaction. The language is no longer just a tool. It's an invitation to those who can understand it. Suddenly, a deep, resonant hum filled the air, and the symbols on the walls flashed in unison. The floor beneath them cracked, and from the depths of the structure, something ancient and powerful began to stir. "We're too late," Olivia muttered. The true threat was awakening, and they had no idea what it was. The ground beneath them trembled as an ancient mechanical sound reverberated through the hall. Massive stone slabs moved from the walls, revealing a vast chamber hidden deep within the structure. In the center of the chamber was an enormous glowing object, an alien artifact pulsing with the same energy as the symbols. "What is that?" Rayne asked, his voice barely audible. "That is what we've been searching for," Dr. Voss said, her voice filled with awe. "The source of the power. It's been dormant for millennia." Olivia's heart raced as she understood the true danger. "We can't let it activate," she said urgently. "We need to destroy it, or it will be the end of everything." But as they moved toward the artifact, the air around them grew thicker, and a voice, deep and otherworldly, filled the room. "You have awakened me," it boomed, sending a chill through the crew. "Now you will serve me." The ground cracked open, revealing alien machinery, and strange biomechanical creatures began to rise from the depths. They were not just the product of the language, they were its protectors. Olivia felt the weight of the battle ahead. This was no longer just a fight for control, it was a fight for survival. As the alien creatures advanced, the hidden ally made their final move. "You can't stop it now," they said, their voice filled with satisfaction. "This is the beginning. You've all played your part, and now I will claim my reward." Olivia turned to face them, realization dawning. "You weren't trying to stop it, you were trying to unleash it." The hidden ally smiled coldly. "I was never here to save anyone. I was here to control this power. And now, I will." As the alien creatures charged forward, the crew fought back desperately, but the hidden ally had already made their escape, disappearing into the shadows of the chamber. "We need to stop them now," Olivia ordered, turning to Dr. Voss. "Do you have a way to shut it down?" Dr. Voss worked quickly, her hands flying across the control panel. "I might be able to disrupt the energy flow, but it'll take time. We need to buy that time." Olivia nodded, rallying the crew. "Then we fight. We fight until the last breath." The battle raged on, with Olivia and her crew fighting fiercely against the alien creatures. But no matter how many they took down, more seemed to rise from the depths. The structure itself seemed alive, resisting their every move. Dr. Voss was still working on the device, sweat beading on her forehead as the countdown clock ticked down. "Hurry," Olivia urged, her voice strained as she fired her weapon. "We don't have much time. I'm almost there," Dr. Voss replied, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Just a little longer." The ground shook violently, and Olivia saw the artifact glowing brighter, its energy building. "We need to stop it now," she yelled. "Dr. Voss, we can't wait any longer." But as the timer reached 0, the alien voice boomed again, louder than before. "You are too late. This is the end of your civilization." The energy from the artifact surged through the chamber, and the creatures began to move faster, more aggressively. The crew had one last chance, and it was slipping through their fingers. The room shook violently as the alien artifact continued to pulse, its energy intensifying. Olivia's crew fought valiantly, but the alien creatures kept coming. They were outmatched, outnumbered. The countdown clock on Dr. Voss's console reached 0, but nothing happened. No explosion, no sudden shutdown. Instead, the room fell into an eerie silence. "What's happening?" Olivia shouted, her weapon raised, scanning the shadows. Dr. Voss's hands trembled as she stared at the control panel. "It's not a countdown to destruction," she said slowly. "It's a countdown to ascension." The language. It was never meant to destroy. It was meant to awaken the creatures inside. Olivia's heart sank as she realized the full scope of the threat. The language wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It was the key to unlocking an ancient race's return, an invasion that would sweep across the galaxy. This isn't just about control, Dr. Voss continued. This language is a beacon, a call to arms for the alien race that created it. And we've answered it. As the full weight of the situation hit them, the alien creatures stopped moving, their eyes glowing brighter. The signal is complete, the voice echoed, this time louder than ever. Prepare for the end of your world. The energy from the alien artifact surged to an unimaginable level, flooding the chamber with blinding light. Olivia shielded her eyes, feeling the air become thick with power. Suddenly, the light dimmed, revealing a massive figure standing at the far end of the chamber. The creature was humanoid in shape, towering above them, with elongated limbs, dark, chitinous armor, and eyes that glowed with an unnatural light. Its voice rumbled in the air, reverberating through the walls. You dare to awaken us, weaklings? You who do not understand the power you have unleashed? The creature's gaze locked onto Olivia, its eyes burning with contempt. You are nothing but insects unworthy of the knowledge you have sought. The crew stood frozen, awestruck by the sheer scale of the threat now before them. Dr. Voss stepped forward, her voice trembling. Who are you? What do you want? The creature's mouth twisted into what could have been a smile. We are the architects, the creators of the language you call a weapon. You too will soon speak our tongue, and your civilization will be ours to command. The words were a death sentence, each syllable sealing their fate. Olivia knew they didn't have much time. The creature's words echoed in her mind, and the weight of the situation was almost too much to bear. We can't let them succeed, Olivia said, her voice steely with determination. Dr. Voss, can you find a way to stop this? We need to shut down the artifact, stop the signal from spreading. Dr. Voss shook her head, eyes wide with fear. I don't know if I can. The energy it's emitting, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if the artifact is connected to something beyond our understanding. Olivia turned to the rest of the crew. We don't have a choice. If we don't stop this now, the galaxy is lost. A new voice spoke up, Lieutenant Mason, his voice raspy but strong, as though the alien influence on him had weakened. Captain, I know what to do, he said, his eyes no longer glowing. I remember the language. I remember how it was designed. It wasn't just a signal. It's a gateway to their true form. Olivia looked at him, disbelief in her eyes. What are you saying, Mason? Mason nodded gravely. We can't just destroy the artifact. We need to close the gateway by reversing the process, but it will require all of us. Olivia hesitated, but then nodded. Then let's do it, together. With Mason's knowledge of the language, the crew began the delicate process of reversing the signal. The energy from the artifact surged again, but this time, it was directed outward, flowing in waves across the room. It's working, Dr. Voss exclaimed, but the alien creatures had other plans. They began to advance, their movements swift and relentless. Olivia raised her weapon, knowing that this would be their last stand. We hold them off. We finish this. The crew fought with everything they had, but the creatures were too powerful. Each blow landed on them, only to be absorbed by their armor. We're losing ground, Rayne shouted as one of the creatures lunged at him. You dodged. Olivia's heart pounded in her chest as she fought, but then she saw it. The glowing energy of the artifact began to flicker, weakening as they completed the final steps of Mason's plan. Almost there, Dr. Voss said. Just a few more seconds. Olivia's grip tightened on her weapon. We can't let them stop us now. Hold the line. The alien creatures charged, but Olivia and her crew pushed forward, determined to stop them once and for all. The artifact flickered one final time, and just as the energy began to surge out of control, Mason stepped forward. I can't hold it any longer, he said, his voice filled with sorrow. But I can finish this. I'll take the signal into myself, close the gateway from within. Olivia's heart clenched. No, Mason. There has to be another way. But Mason shook his head. It's the only way. The language was meant for me. I've already been changed by it. This is my sacrifice. It's the only way to stop them." With that, Mason pressed his hands onto the artifact, and a brilliant flash of light engulfed him. The alien creatures screamed in agony, their bodies disintegrating as the energy reversed itself. When the light faded, Mason was gone, and the chamber was silent. The artifact's glow had dimmed, and the walls of the structure began to crumble. "He saved us," Rayne whispered, his voice filled with grief. Olivia stood in the silence, her heart heavy with the weight of the sacrifice. The gateway had closed, but at a great cost. "We owe him everything," she said quietly. "Now we need to get out of here, before this place collapses completely." The Elysium shook violently as the crew rushed to the ship. The alien structure around them groaned, its foundations cracking under the immense power that had just been unleashed. Olivia sprinted down the corridors, her mind still processing Mason's sacrifice. "We have to move faster," Rayne yelled as the ground beneath them trembled. The crew's pace quickened, hearts pounding in their chests. "This place is coming down," Dr. Voss said, glancing over her shoulder. "We can't stay here any longer." As they made their way to the ship's landing bay, the ship's hull screeched as a portion of the alien structure above collapsed, sending debris flying. Olivia's crew scrambled to secure the ship and prepare for takeoff. She could still feel the sting of Mason's final moments, the weight of the loss pressing heavily on her heart. "Get us out of here," Olivia barked as she slammed her hand onto the flight controls. The Elysium lifted off, escaping just as the alien structure behind them disintegrated into rubble. The crew was safe, for now. But the damage done by the artifact would have repercussions far beyond the planet's surface. As the ship ascended into space, the crew tried to regain some semblance of normalcy. But the silence in the cockpit was deafening. Olivia sat in her chair, staring at the stars outside, her thoughts a whirlwind of emotions. Rayne approached, his expression somber. "We lost him, Captain. Mason." His voice trailed off, the words too painful to finish. Olivia nodded slowly. "I know. He saved us. But it doesn't make it any easier." Dr. Voss entered, her face pale. "The damage from the artifact is worse than we thought. Its energy disrupted the core systems of the planet. There's no telling what kind of ripple effect it'll have." Olivia turned to face her, her eyes hard. "How bad is it?" Dr. Voss hesitated. "I don't know, but if the artifact's energy spread, there's a chance that other systems could be affected. Other planets, other races might now be exposed to the signal." The weight of the revelation hit Olivia like a blow. "We stopped it here, but we may have unleashed something far worse." Back in the ship's command center, Olivia stared at the star maps, her fingers tracing the regions near the alien system they had just left. If the artifact's signal has spread, it could reach anywhere, any system, any species. Dr. Voss looked over her shoulder, her brow furrowed. The power it emitted could be on a galactic scale. We might not even know how far the signal traveled. The language, the gateway, it wasn't just about the artifact. It was a signal. A call. A call. A call for what? Olivia asked, fear creeping into her voice. For the architects? Or something else? Dr. Voss took a deep breath. It's possible the signal called for reinforcements, for other beings that might be connected to the artifact. We've only scratched the surface of what this language can do. Rayne spoke up, his voice filled with concern. But what if we're not the only ones who've found it? What if someone else is already answering that call? Olivia's thoughts spiraled. Then it's not over. We might have stopped one disaster, but if the signal has already spread, then the galaxy is in greater danger than we thought. A chill ran down Olivia's spine. The full extent of the alien power was still unknown, and so were the beings it had called. As the Elysium continued its journey through space, the crew struggled to make sense of what had happened. Olivia knew that their fight was far from over. The hidden Allah's betrayal still weighed heavily on her mind. "What do we do now?" Rayne asked, his voice uncertain. "We regroup," Olivia replied. "We're going to need every resource we can find. We need to track the signal and find out who else might be out there. The hidden ally isn't the only one who's been searching for this power. Dr. Voss, still recovering from the intensity of their ordeal, spoke up. We can't just ignore the possibility that other factions are after the same thing. If the hidden allies network has been infiltrated by others, then we're facing something far bigger than we ever anticipated. Olivia nodded. We need to prepare. We can't let this threat grow. As the Elysium entered deep space, the crew's next steps became clear. They would need to unite the factions of the galaxy, track down every lead, and stop anyone from unlocking the alien language's full power. They had only just begun to fight back against an ancient evil that threatened everything. In the quiet of the cockpit, Olivia gazed out at the stars. The universe had never seemed so vast, so uncertain. We've lost much, she said softly, but we're not defeated, not yet. Rayne stood next to her, his expression a mixture of hope and uncertainty. We can't let Mason's sacrifice be in vain. We owe it to him, to everyone, to finish what we started. Olivia turned toward him, her face hardening with resolve. We don't know what's waiting for us out there, but I'll be damned if we let this galaxy fall to something we can't even understand. The crew had become more than just a team. They were now the last line of defense against a power far beyond their comprehension. Prepare yourselves, Olivia said quietly. The fight's only just begun. Olivia stood at the helm, facing the crew. The Confederation is on board, but we need more support, she said. We must unite the factions, or the galaxy will fall. Dr. Voss added, the signal is spreading. We have no time to waste. Rayne nodded. Then let's act before it's too late. They were preparing for their final push, an attempt to bring the galaxy's forces together against the alien threat. The Zorkan Empire refused to cooperate. Your war is not ours, Emperor Zorkan scoffed during the transmission. We will not aid you. Olivia's jaw clenched. You're making a mistake, she said. If we don't unite, we all fall. The transmission ended abruptly. The Zorkan won't join us, Rayne muttered. Then we do this without them, Olivia replied. We can't waste time. They were on their own, but Olivia wouldn't back down. As they prepared, the hidden ally appeared again, smirking. You still think you can stop this? They taunted. The final beacon is already activated. The signal is irreversible. Olivia's eyes narrowed. You won't win. The hidden ally smiled. I already have. Their plan had been set in motion, and the crew was running out of time. With the hidden ally's betrayal, the Elysium raced toward the beacon. We have one chance, Olivia said. We need to destroy it before the signal spreads any further. The crew fought through waves of alien energy as they approached the beacon. We can't stop now, Olivia urged. This is our last shot. They prepared to make their final move. The crew realized the only way to stop the beacon was to overload the ship's power. We have to sacrifice the ship, Olivia said, her voice steady. Rayne volunteered to stay behind, but Olivia insisted. We do this together. The overload began, and the alien beacon exploded in a brilliant burst of energy. The threat was finally destroyed, but at a cost. The crew of the Elysium united the galaxy's factions, but the looming threat of the alien language was far from over. Olivia briefed the crew. The Confederation is on board. We need to stop the signal before it spreads further. Dr. Voss added, it's already reaching other systems. We don't have much time. The stakes were clear. If they didn't act, the galaxy would be doomed. Just as hope sparked, the hidden ally reappeared. You think you can stop this? They sneered. The signal is already irreversible. I've already activated the final beacon. Olivia's blood ran cold. The hidden ally had been playing them all along. Then we stop you now, Olivia said, her voice filled with fury. The Elysium raced toward the beacon, a final desperate mission. We have to destroy it now, Olivia shouted. But the beacon's power was overwhelming. As they approached, the ship's shields faltered. We don't have much time, Dr. Voss cried. Olivia gritted her teeth. We can't stop now. The crew realized they had to sacrifice the ship to destroy the beacon. Rayne volunteered, but Olivia refused to let him go alone. Together, they initiated the overload. The alien voice boomed, "You can't stop us." Olivia's resolve hardened. "We'll fight until the end." The ship's energy surged, and the beacon exploded in a burst of light. The Elysium lay in ruins, but the galaxy was safe. Olivia stared into the void. "We did it, but at what cost?" Rayne nodded. "We lost much, but we stopped the threat." The crew gathered, their faces reflecting both relief and sorrow. They had saved the galaxy, but the battle had changed them forever.